Rose Blackpink didn't walk into that moment to shock anyone, yet within seconds, fans felt it anyway. There was something different in the air, something calculated but quiet, as if the room itself understood that this wasn't just another appearance. It looked simple on the surface, almost understated, but that's exactly why it landed so hard. Roseanne Park has mastered the art of making silence feel louder than noise, and this time, the timing made people stop, rewind, and question what they had just witnessed. At this stage of her career, Rose no longer moves like someone chasing attention. She moves like someone who understands gravity. Every step, every pause, every decision feels intentional, as if she's placing pieces on a board most people can't see yet. Fans sense that immediately. This wasn't about performance or spectacle. It was about positioning, about presence, about choosing when to step forward and when to let the moment breathe. What made it even more intriguing was how controlled the environment felt. Nothing was rushed. Nothing felt accidental. Rose stood there with the calm of someone who knows exactly where she is in the global hierarchy of influence. She didn't need to explain herself. She didn't need to announce anything. The power came from restraint, and restraint is something only people at the top can afford. Around 30 seconds in, the atmosphere subtly shifted. That's when the moment expanded beyond just Rose. Bruno Mars appeared in the frame, not as the center, not as the headline, but as a presence that quietly amplified the significance. The interaction was brief, almost minimal, yet it carried weight. Two global forces sharing space without trying to dominate it. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. And that's exactly why fans were shocked. For Rose Blackpink, moments like this aren't about collaboration hype. They're about alignment. She understands that in today's culture, value isn't built by shouting louder than everyone else. It's built by choosing the right context. Standing next to the right energy at the right time sends a stronger signal than any press release ever could. Fans picked up on that instinctively, even if they couldn't fully articulate why it felt important. As the story unfolded, attention naturally drifted back to Rose. Her expression told its own narrative. Calm, grounded, almost observant, as if she was watching the reaction unfold in real time without reacting to it herself. This is where her growth becomes undeniable. Early in her career, moments like this would have been about excitement. Now they're about control. She doesn't chase moments anymore. She creates conditions where moments come to her. This is where strategy quietly enters the picture. In the global brand ecosystem, perception is currency. Rose operates at the intersection of art, fashion, and cultural influence, and she understands how each appearance compounds over time. One moment reinforces another. One image strengthens a narrative that's been building for years. This isn't random visibility. It's long-term brand equity being reinforced in real time. Somewhere in the middle of all this, a subtle curiosity spike hit fans hard. People started asking the same question without even realizing it. Why did this feel bigger than it looked? There was no announcement, no statement, no obvious reveal. And yet, the tension lingered. That's because the moment wasn't designed to explain itself. It was designed to invite interpretation, and interpretation keeps people watching. Rose Blackpink thrives in that space. She understands that mystery isn't about hiding information, it's about pacing it. In marketing psychology, anticipation often outperforms disclosure. By giving just enough, she allows audiences to project meaning, and that emotional investment is far stronger than any forced narrative. This is the kind of thinking you usually see in high-level brand architects, not performers reacting to trends. Bruno Mars' presence, spaced carefully and sparingly, served as a quiet benchmark rather than a takeover. His appearance reminded viewers of scale, legacy, and global recognition, but it never pulled focus away from Rosé's trajectory. Instead, it framed her position within a broader creative universe, not as someone reaching upward, but as someone already moving laterally among peers who command respect. As the tension rose, it became clear that this wasn't about a single event. It was about momentum. Rosé's career right now feels like it's entering a phase where fewer moves are made, but each one carries more weight. Entrepreneurs often talk about leverage, the idea that one well-placed action can outperform 10 loud ones. Rose is applying that principle to cultural influence. The climax of the moment wasn't dramatic. There was no obvious peak, no crowd reaction engineered for cameras. Instead, the climax lived in the aftermath, in the way fans replayed the clip, in the way discussions spiraled without clear answers, in the way industry observers quietly noted how effortlessly she held the center without demanding it. Emotionally, that's where the impact settled in. Rose isn't just evolving as an artist. She's evolving as a symbol of modern influence. Someone who understands that in a saturated world, clarity and restraint feel radical. Her confidence doesn't come from proving herself anymore. It comes from knowing she doesn't have to. As the moment faded, what remained was a sense of quiet assurance. Fans weren't shocked because something explosive happened. They were shocked because something subtle landed perfectly. And subtlety, when executed at this level, feels rare. This story isn't about hype. It's about trajectory, about how Rose is shaping a future where her presence alone carries meaning, where every appearance adds another layer to a long-term vision. And if this moment felt small on the surface, that might be the point. The biggest moves often don't announce themselves. Rose Blackpink stepped into that moment without warning, and within seconds, fans felt something shift. Not because of noise or spectacle, but because of how controlled it all was. Her presence didn't ask for attention. It commanded it. From the very first frame, there was a quiet tension, the kind that makes people lean closer instead of scrolling past. This wasn't a performance. It was positioning. At this point in her career, Rose moves differently. She doesn't rush moments, and she doesn't over-explain them. Everything about her posture, her timing, and her restraint suggested intention. Fans could sense that this wasn't accidental visibility. It was deliberate placement. The kind that only works when someone understands both cultural rhythm and long-term value. About 30 seconds in, the frame widened just enough to change the energy. Bruno Mars appeared, briefly, almost effortlessly. No announcement. No spotlight shift. Just presence. The interaction was short, controlled, and instantly unforgettable. It didn't overpower the moment. It sharpened it. Two global creatives sharing space without competing for it. And that subtle balance is what caught people off guard. Then the focus naturally returned to Rose. Her expression stayed calm, grounded, observant. She looked like someone watching a plan unfold rather than reacting to it. This is where her evolution becomes clear. She's no longer chasing impact. She's managing it. In brand psychology, this is where influence compounds. Less exposure, more meaning. Halfway through, curiosity quietly spiked. Viewers started replaying the clip, not to see what happened, but to understand why it felt important. Nothing was announced, yet the tension lingered. That's not an accident. Anticipation is a strategy. And Rose understands how powerful it is to leave space for interpretation. Bruno Mars re-entered the narrative only as needed, never dominating the story, acting more like a reference point than a centerpiece. His presence framed scale and legacy, but Rose Blackpink remained the axis. It subtly signaled that she's operating in a lane where alignment matters more than hype. The real climax didn't happen on screen. It happened after. In the discussions, the rewatches, the quiet realization that something strategic had just taken place. This wasn't about a single moment. It was about momentum. Roseanne Park is building something slower, stronger, and far more durable. And if this moment felt understated, that's because the most confident moves usually are. If you felt that shift too, stay close and take a second look at what you just saw. Moments like this don't exist in isolation. And the story they're building is far from over. Make sure to hit like if this caught your attention, subscribe to stay connected, and keep this space on your radar for what comes next.